Hello, welcome back to Access. I'm Nathan. This is Dave.
Hello.
We're standing outside. It's quite cold, but we are in
Yeah.
France. This is actual Paris Games Week. This is a video about Gravity Rush 2.
Yeah.
Which I saw a demonstration of, and it looks really good. Here's 5 things that I think Dave should know about it. That's the title of this video.
I do need to know things about it.
These are things you need to know. You play Gravity Rush on the PS Vita?
I did indeed, yeah.
One of the best things on the PS Vita.
Definitely.
And I say that, Dave, as a man who has admittedly, I've confessed this, I didn't finish it because I had a slight trouble with getting my head around changing the angle of gravity on a handheld.
Yeah,
so
I can understand that.
I'm extraordinarily pleased that this is happening.
Yeah.
And one of the first things I want to say is just that, looking at it on a massive TV, well, just a normal TV, but just it was bigger than a PlayStation Vita,
Yeah.
it looks really nice.
Yeah, I can imagine.
This is point number 1. It looks beautiful. That's
Yeah.
what I've written down. The guys behind the game are talking about how the art style has always been a mixture of influences. It's good that we're here in Paris. Bande dessinée, I think I'm saying that right.
Okay.
Is kind of a French comic book style. Like Ridley Scott has always been really influenced by. There's a French magazine called Metal Hurlant, which I think translates as heavy metal
Right,
magazine. There's been like a history of like one of the big what do you call it before you make something? And then I'm so tired.
Production?
Concept art. Yeah, one of the big concept art is like Moebius.
Right.
He used to write for draw from Metal Hurlant. So there's a big kind of tradition of French science fiction, and he's kind of combined that with anime. What I'm saying is it looks really good and like stuff that I like.
It does. It's got a very distinct art style, hasn't it? I think. I remember it well from the PS Vita, and that the whole town is very kind of European.
Yes, well, it was before. They were talking about that as well, actually. Are we moving on? We may as well move on to point 2, which is huge.
Really?
It's much bigger now, yeah. So, but also more dense. So they were saying before, I think because of it's an early Vita game as well, because of the limitations of working on a handheld machine, they decided deliberately to set it in a kind of a decadent European city.
Yeah.
So it had like a lonely, empty feel, and now there's like more of a kind of a bustling. They put loads more. There's like more vibrant. There's tons more like civilians.
Yeah.
And on top of that, they kind of acknowledged that once people got to the end of the missions, there was like, there isn't really much to do in this, empty world. So there are 3 times the number of missions, and the map is 2.5 times as big, and it's going to be denser as well. So that's point number 2.
You have to remember it's a map that it's not just like a flat map, it's like a very vertical map.
You can go anywhere.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it is a big deal, and I kind of want to stress just how nice it looked. It was, mentioning anime and French cartoons and animation as well. When it was running, it had that kind of particular feel of like I mentioned this in our wrap-up video the other day, like Ni no Kuni. You kind of go, well, this is just like I'm watching a really high-quality animation, but I can do whatever I like.
Yes.
So it looked brilliant. Number 3, new gravity powers.
Yeah.
So the basic gravity power in the last game is that Kat, our heroine, was able to kind of switch the axis of gravity, which took me ages to understand, and luckily now there's going to be more for me to deal with. So you can switch to lunar gravity, which means that you can jump higher, and so the axis of gravity remains the same, but you are lighter, and you can get away from stuff quicker.
Yeah.
Or you can switch it to Jupiter gravity, and you become heavier, and then all your attacks are more powerful.
Yeah.
But you're also a bit slower. So it looks really good in action. It's just a smart kind of like, what can we do with gravity? And obviously it's like switching between classes almost, or armor type. You go from a kind of a scout to a tank or a heavy kind of a thing.
It's going to give them loads of gameplay options, I'm sure, that we haven't even considered yet. I really like just in the bit that we saw at the conference, just picking up all the the stuff that had been destroyed in the town and taking it up into the air and then making it really, really heavy, and it formed this massive bomb that's dropped everywhere.
Well, exactly, and that
was cool.
That kind of power as well, that kind of the destructibility of the environments is a new thing for it's like much improved, and it's and you can build up those kind of catamaris and then launch them at enemies as well. There's loads more combat actions, and talking about that, because one of the things that it affects is the co-op play, not AI co-op. So there is Raven, who was your kind of antagonist throughout the previous game, is now your AI buddy. and it is a single-player game. There was a question, did you ever think about making it co-op? And they did, but just in terms of making the game run as smoothly as they like and making it bigger in the way they like. They said we decided to focus on making it single-player, so it's an AI kind of partner. But I've never seen, like, when you're watching a game and you're just like, this game has gone so far down its own kind of furlough. It's doing its own thing. Like, there were ladies who are like animals. There's like a cat and a raven. They're sort of dancing in the sky, fly kicking like Nevi, like these black corruption monsters in midair, kicking men out of robots. And I was just like, this game is just doing its own thing, and its own thing is brilliant. It was like, but so odd. Just like, this is why games are brilliant. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Then the combinations and the like. So you got all that. You can switch gravity. You can switch the power of gravity. You are in the air with this other lady, and then you can like do combo moves together. And so I was just like, what? This is a lot to take in. But it looks really, really good. And point number 5 is just for me in particular is that Gravity Rush, the first one, is also being remastered, and I'm going to play it.
Yeah, you're going to finish it this time.
Yes, I am, Dave.
It's good. That's really great, actually, especially in the light of how Raven is in the second one as well, and people want to know how this story came to pass, and also Kat just learning her powers right at the start of Gravity Rush. I really like that.
I just think
like, what's going on?
As well, it's really nice when when stuff gets bumped from Vita, and it's like, well, why don't we put this in front of like the really big PlayStation 4 audience and see what they make of it, especially when the second one's coming. I think it makes loads of sense.
Definitely.
Blue Point Games are doing it. The same team that did the PlayStation 4 remaster of the Uncharted series.
Right.
So, expect it to be
pretty
good. The studio developers were like pumped. They were working with those guys.
That's wicked.
It's going to be really good. So stay with us for more information of this kind about games, PlayStation 4. Do subscribe to the channel. We have got loads more coming up.